coming through the very thick vegetation now. You can see that one, and then the others are coming from the right hand side of your screen. Now they've found something nice to eat. It could be the herd of elephants maybe we had first thing this morning. And we did actually bump into that herd that visited the pan when we were listening to those monkeys' alarm calling. But they were then moving through the thicket. They're pushing down trees in here. I'm not sure which trees they're pushing down. We can't really see for the moment. There we go. Now we can see just on the far right there comes a big female. But they seem to be all around us. We've actually got another one coming to the left of us now, which you'll see in a little bit. They're going to come, I think you're going to come right over and say, oh, no, you're a little bit nervous. It's okay. See how this one is just on a little bit on the nervous side. Looks like a young male, but it's okay. It's okay, boy. Relax. Shame. A little bit scared, but I don't know, he was on the complete opposite side of the rest of the herd. Now the wind is picking up a little bit, and possibly he got a little bit frightened that he didn't maybe hear the rest of the herd that we can now see coming through. There we go. Going straight down into the drainage. And the elephants have been very quiet, like I was telling you this morning. You can see them funneling out one by one. It seems to be quite a big herd. Like I said, those elephants are all over the show, on either side of the vehicle. And Sandy was wondering this morning, how great of a multitasker is an elephant? Can they eat, can they rumble, and do all those things at the same time? I think they can. Sandy, I'm pretty sure I've seen elephants eating quite a few times, or about to pop food into their mouth, and then as well as do that rumble. I think it's possible. Well, the wind is picking up quite a bit, so I'm hoping the behavior of the animals doesn't change too much. We know that they don't quite enjoy the wind. And hopefully we'll see all the Ellies around the water this afternoon, and perhaps a big herd of buffalo that I was telling you about will come and drink at one of the dams, maybe Buffelshoek Dam. Although there's also lots of mud wallows that are filled along the cut line. Something that we don't actually get to see very often, and Anna has asked quite a peculiar question. Anna wants to know, can an elephant stick its tongue out? Anna, I have never seen an elephant sticking its tongue out before. Now, we hardly ever see their tongue. Sometimes when they're eating towards us and they curl their trunks underneath them and open up their mouths nice and wide, we see it sticking out. I don't think an elephant can stick its tongue out, perhaps like Impala can and kudu can and buffalo can. They don't really use their tongue to feed with, to pull the grass, up from the ground and into their mouths. So I don't think so. That's a good bum shot over there, don't you think? Remember, you're welcome to take lots and lots of screen captures, like I always say. Hey, that's a nice close-up. You could turn that into black and white, and I think you'd have a great screensaver. Right. I'm going to go around and give it one more go to try and find where these inkahumas have disappeared to. And while I do that, let's go to James, who has got some striped creatures.
There's an okapi, everybody. Is it your first okapi, Brian?
It is.
Very nice.
It is amazing.
Lovely to see an okapi out here. That's the only other striped creature we get. Oh, of course you get that other thing, don't you, Brian? The quagga. Yes, could be a quagga as well. It is, of course, the Birchall zebra, everyone, in case you thought I had lost my mind. Well, I may have lost my mind, but not so much that I don't know that that is, in fact, a zebra. Very cleverly coloured for the environs in which it now finds itself. That one doesn't appear to have any shadow striping at all at the back. You see that? I've left my binoculars in the tent, unfortunately. But there, that one in the back, no shadow stripes. Or very dim ones. Could go to East Africa and quite easily disguise itself as a Grant zebra. Now, we were asked about the elephants earlier and whether I thought that the elephants here were bigger than the ones in the Mara or the other way around. I thought they were about the same size. I think the Grant zebra is probably slightly smaller than the Birchall's version, which we have here. That's just an impression I got from the size. And as they disappear into the woodland, Brian, if you wouldn't mind sort of tilting down and panning slightly to the left, and you will see some more results of the rain. The Xerophyta retinervis has bloomed. You see that, Brian? There are the blooms of Xerophyta retinervis, everybody. The baboon's tail. They're amazing, these things. As soon as there is a drop of water in the soil. Hello, Velma. You were saying you were hoping to see baboon's tails and whether they've bloomed. Well, these few have. I don't think they had yesterday, you know. Well, maybe they had a little bit. But they are brilliant at sucking out the very smallest amounts of water. Now, they're called xerophyta because in theory they're xerophytic. In other words, they're good at living in dry conditions. I'm not sure that that's particularly true, but what they are able to do is because of the shape there of the, not the flower, but of that baboon's tail stalk, I suspect what it does, it's sort of advanced capillary action. Now, capillary action is not a particularly entertaining subject to discuss around the dinner table, but it is important to understand. Now, what it is, if you put a very narrow tube into water, it will automatically create a vacuum, and I think that's because of the surface tension on the water's surface. Not surprising that the surface tension is on the surface, is it, Brian? No. Anyway, that causes the water to travel up the thin tube without kind of any sucking or without any vacuum. And that's what happens, I think, in all those very small tubes. That baboon's tail stump, if you like, is made up of many, many small tubes. And what happens is that it sucks the water up as soon as any water in the soil. It goes zoop up into that thing, produces leaves, produces flowers, but then when it dries out, it goes dormant very quickly again. And it doesn't hold water, so that's not a succulent. It's completely dry when there's no water in the soil. It's really quite a clever plant. And still the wind doth blow. And still Karula doth hide. Anyway, I'm going to make one more sort of turn around this area, and if we don't come up with anything, then I'm definitely going to try and get into the lineup to go and see Thandi. I don't think the youngsters were seen today, but they may have been. I'd like to meet them. If we can't have the Queen, we may as well have the Princess. Hey, Brian? Yes. Very nice. Very nice conclusion to the sighting there, everybody. You see how Brian artfully turned to the sky. Hello, Morning Glory. You'll excuse my not making eye contact with you. I'm just looking for tracks here. I thought I may have seen some. This is round about where yours said he last saw Karula last night. Morning Glory, you say, do the baboon's tails bloom repeatedly through the season or only once? Morning Glory, they will bloom repeatedly. And they'll hold their flowers, and then they will lose their flowers when it gets dry and then bring them again. There are lion tracks here, but they don't seem very new. I think they're quite deeply ancient, actually. But what we want to see is the tracks of little Hoshana and his sister and his mummy. Now, what have we got there? There is something down here. I think it is a hyena, though. One should always look into the trees, of course, to see if there isn't a leopard lurking. I think these are hyena tracks around here. not very distinct, and I can see the tracks of BLS from yesterday evening turning about this place. Leopards are so very good at vanishing. Anyway, let's keep going round here. Hello Maggie, you say, it's an interesting one from you. You say, if you were on a vehicle and the guide was testing the animals, in other words, putting them under pressure, would you have the right to say something? Maggie, yes, of course you have the right to say something. You have the right to say whatever you like. Well, within reason, of course. But what you just need to be very careful of, and I have had this experience a few times, is that when you get onto a vehicle and the guide does something that you think is perhaps not particularly correct, you just need to make sure that you understand what he understands. Because often what happens is you come into an area like this. Would be like me going to North America and going on a guided walk with somebody in Yellowstone National Park, and then trying to having an experience with an animal and then criticizing how he had operated when I wouldn't have the faintest clue what I was talking about. And I think often what happens is that we do get tourists out here who don't interpret the situation necessarily correctly, and the guide who's got many years of experience has interpreted it in a certain way and reacted in a certain way. And so you just need to be very careful that that isn't the situation. That said, I have seen many times where guides do push animals, trying to get too close in order to get a good photograph or show how big and macho they are. And then, of course, you've got absolutely the right to say, listen, I can see that animal's under stress, we don't need to get any closer, let's just stay back a bit. So yes, of course, Maggie, you have that right. And indeed it is encouraged. If you feel threatened in any way, if you as a guest were to come out here and to feel threatened at all, then it is beholden on you to say to the guide, that's enough, no closer, because this is not, we're not out here to do extreme sports. We'll just switch off here and see if the owls still live here. Ooh, there's some squirrels alarm calling. I'm just going to go back a bit, and I'm going to call the owls for you. There's some very, very angry squirrels just inside here. I think we might be in luck here, Brian. They're just down there, sort of towards the drainage line. Let's just look into the bushes here. I'll make my owl call while we do this. There. It may be what the squirrel's alarm calling at. No, there's another one behind us. Shall we see if we can find it, Brian? It's round about, I think, where the squirrels are looking. Hello Rachel, you say you love owls? Well, with any luck we'll be able to show you one shortly. There it is. I saw it fly and then no, have you got it? Well spotted. There it is, Rachel. There's the pearl-spotted owl. It's very cross. It thinks that its territory is being invaded by a very large owl. Now the problem with a squirrel is that a squirrel has a very good eyesight and it can see there. You see the squirrel there, Brian? Brian, the squirrel's just down on the sort of the first branch there. On the trunk, just to the there's a kind of horn that sticks out to the right of the trunk. There's a squirrel sitting on it. It's not alarm calling though. So a squirrel can see quite a long way. You see the squirrel? See the first horn of the tree that sticks out to the right hand side? There it is. Now, I mean, they might alarm call at the owls, but the owls are not very big, and not. I mean, they could kill a squirrel, but it's not that common. And now I'm tempted to have a little wander in here and see what we can find. Just have another little listen. See if the owl gives something away. Rachel, I believe you're very happy now. Well, that's good to know. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I don't want to just, well, you know what? Let's just have a little drive in here. And just see. Fran, you say that pearl-spotted owl is now number 73 on your bird list. Fran, I'm very pleased about that. Let's try and get you to at least 100 by the end of the summer season. Karula and her youngsters love this area. They are often around here. Have a little peek through here. Shout if you see a leopard, Brian, you know the deal. Of course the squirrels could have seen something walking the other side of the drainage across the clearings there. I don't see nothing here, but I think down there is where we'd be looking. Alright, well, we're doing a little search through here. Stef's got something interesting on foot. Perhaps he will try and... No, never mind, I was going to say something inappropriate. Let's head across to Stef. Back with us. Hello everybody. We haven't found anything further since we last saw you 3.5 seconds ago. Not sure what's happened to Stef's audio. Just do a little foray through here. That scraping sound of the strychnos against the car should inspire some kind of activity if there happens to be a leopard in here. Now the owl, and we've seen the owl, so there's no real point in us being here anymore, is there? No. I think we're going to move on. Very sad. Right, Stef now has some audio and some zebras. Let's go and find out what he has to say about them.
There we go, we have got some audio and some zebra back. You are in one of these signal weird places here on Djuma. You don't get to walk here very often, but what you are looking at over there is a zebra, and there are some wildebeest there, about 3 wildebeest I think. So I think let's see if we can get a little bit closer and see if we can show you those wildebeest. They're not that common in the Sabi Sands, and that's because the soil doesn't produce the volume of grass necessary to hold large numbers of wildebeest. They require quite a specific diet. I think we're going to have to go this way through. Quite a specific diet of very high protein, very good quality grasses. And the Sabi Sands is built on some ancient soil and some very nutrient poor soil, which gives us lots of different species but no large numbers of any one. But that just looks like some zebra. I don't see those wildebeest there, although they are there. I can see the back of one. There you can see. Oh, it's going to be difficult to show you. Let's see if we can go forward a little bit more. Shouldn't be too tough, at least to get you a silhouette of them. They are on these crests. There we go. Let's see if they come out following those zebra. There you go. There you can see a wildebeest and a zebra all together. That's very nice. Oh, Basil, you've just asked me if zebras see in black and white, and why. Basil, I think that they probably see. Let's see. I know predators definitely see in black and white. Would there be any advantage to seeing in color for a zebra? Probably not, because they don't need to judge the ripeness of fruit or flowers or anything like that. So let me say that zebras probably see in a type of very high quality black and white, or monochrome, if I could say. It's just got no color, but very good definition. Most animals out here don't see in color. They don't need to, because they don't need to, like us, be able to judge. Facial expressions would be one, judging flushes in skin and all that sort of stuff. It would be male on male, agnostic behavior, but it would also be male on female in terms of reproductive behavior. Most of the primates are like that. Not that I'm saying that we are related, but nevertheless. But we do also need to judge the ripeness and quality of the food that we eat, and that's one of the reasons why we have color vision. Animals like this, for instance, that just eat grass, they don't need color vision, but what they do need is a very high quality vision that allows them to see at night a little bit better. And for these two purposes, we have things in our eyes called rods and cones. Cones are there to distinguish between different wavelengths in the electromagnetic spectrum and give us color, or the ability to see color. And rods allow us to absorb light, I think, and give us a sharper picture. I know, am I speaking right, Xander? I know camera language, maybe you can help me here. But we definitely have got we got a pretty even balance of rods and cones, whereas a thing like a lion or an organism like a leopard has an imbalance of rods. They've got many more rods than they have cones, and I would say it's probably about fair to say that of zebra and wildebeest as well. So yes, they do see in black and white. I would imagine. Let's see if we can get out here in front of them. I see there's a road here finally. We've been wandering around in this block for probably now close on an hour. There we go. And we are now, the one zebra can see us, but the wind is blasting from them to us, which is in our favor because we're not sending our scent onto them. And that is allowing us to get a little bit closer. So while they are still alarm calling, they're definitely not alarm calling at us. Jordan, you've noticed that the zebra fur has a little bit of golden color to it. Jordan, I would imagine that that's either just refraction of light off of the zebra skin, or some dust that you're catching from this particular angle. I've also actually noticed that they have this sort of sheen to them from time to time, and I suppose it could be golden in some lights. Let's see if we can get onto that saddle of that zebra there, is maybe what Jordan is talking about. On the saddle of the back of that zebra, they do have this sheen, and that would come from dirt, but also the hair. The hair is almost clear in a way, and does have this sheen on it. This is such a nice sighting. There, these dazzle of zebra look like they're going to give the wildebeest a fright on their right hand side. They are companions with one another. They eat different parts of grass, and so because of that, they're not in competition for the same food source. They both eat grass, but they're not in competition for the same parts of the food source, and they do help one another in terms of danger. One is a little bit more vigilant, one has different senses, and so they complement one another. Hey, wildebeest moving off. I think they're making each other equally as nervous there. No reason for it, and there they've calmed down again. Probably just my voice carrying through the bushes. Alright, we're not going to chase them on any more than we need to, so we're going to carry on walking through this way, and we're going to leave them to their own devices. Oh, it's just so lovely walking through the bush here today. The green on the grass has been quite vibrant today, and this clear blue sky and the sharp sunlight. It's just been a fantastic day so far. But while we make our way through the thickets over here, we're going to send you over to Taylor, who's got an update for you.
We are still looking for the lions, but unfortunately no lions just yet. Now, Liam and I are concerned because we haven't seen one lion footprint yet this morning. We're still looking for them. We're just come around on shortcut, Galago shortcut. Check the little pan, nothing there. There's just a whole lot of elephants all scattered around. So perhaps these lions are in the drainage right next to Vuyatela Lodge. Now, the reason why I'm reluctant to go in on foot is because where those monkeys were alarm calling, it was in a drainage line firstly, which is not too much of a problem for me. However, there's also a elephant wire fence that runs around that lodge to try and prevent the elephants from getting in there. I don't want to go walking into lions that have got little cubs and their only escape route be where a fence is. Obviously that's not going to bode well for either of us. So I'm going to give going in there on foot a skip. We're just going to keep doing loops and see if we don't pick up on them. If we don't, then we know that they have to be in there somewhere. And then we will try and have a look maybe a little bit later this afternoon. I also don't want to do too much unnecessary off-roading, just because we have got all this nice green grass that's come through. And, well, I don't particularly feel like squashing it all. Hang on, I've seen something. I just want to get to the other, park my vehicle on the other side. Come on, Jigger, go here. I've seen some footprints, but I don't know whose. Leopard tracks. That's nice. I think these could be the same leopard tracks. They look like young male leopard tracks. I don't know if you're going to see them very well. I did drive over half of them. Perhaps these are the same young male leopard tracks that James had earlier this morning. I think James had some tracks. He was looking to pick up on a male, but when he found them, they were already a little bit further east, so I suspect we'll be well behind these tracks. Okay, that's quite interesting. And we're going to carry on just checking here. I'm actually going to go down and just check around perhaps the Wahlberg's Eagle's Nest, go and have a look there. Also check in that block, maybe those lions came a little bit further south from the dam this morning, where they did a little loop around and I've just missed them. So that's going to be our next plan. Right, going around, passing the DRC now. Hi ladies in final control. They can't see me. Oh, I suppose they can see me through the camera. They're saying hello back to me now. Okay, around we go. And that's where we're going to take a left sooner or later. I'm getting much better at the road. Still a bit dodgy, but I'm getting better. I do also just want to listen. Sorry, my hat is about to blow off. I need to pull it down. So just want to turn the radio on a little bit, see what everybody's chattering about. Actually, I'll maybe do that a little bit later. I can't hear, there's too much wind for the moment. Okay, I haven't seen anything. I've been checking all the way down to where the dam cam is. Should I go back? I think it was just some hyena footprints. And I think that was a group of elephants that we saw quite briefly, and then they moved off into the thicket again. There are elephants and buffalo around every corner this morning. How fantastic is that? Oh, and I see some lovely Nyala coming through as well. It's amazing. Now, when I drove past here, a minute ago, I didn't see any Inyala. And now look that we've come down here again. Some have popped out into the open. You see what happens, how you can drive the same road twice, 3, 4, 5 or 6 times, and eventually you'll bump into something new. I'm just going to roll over. Try and go as quietly as possible. A young Nyala dashing, you can see dashing there. Whee! Oh, they're both running. I think the one at the back wasn't sure why the one in the front, who's a little bit younger, was running. So just in case, you often see that. If one antelope runs, or one gets a fright, then the whole herd reacts and acts as though they get a fright. These are lovely Inyala bulls. Oh, they've come from Vuyatela Lodge. I suspect that they were maybe inside. I did see a couple of females inside the fence. That often happens. They can jump over. It's a very small fence, just to really try and keep the elephants out, keep the lions out, but that doesn't always work. Got his head up, picking on those lovely shoots coming from all the combretums at the moment. This has to be my favorite antelope in the bush. They're by far the prettiest, and I think that the Inyala bulls do well to contend with a big kudu bull. I think their colouring is a lot prettier than that of a kudu, with more grey, with that rust, that yellowy colour, and of course the dark chocolate brown with the white tuft of hair just coming up through the back. Now, there was a question the other day, what is the difference between hair and fur? And I think I could have got distracted and I didn't answer it. So there isn't, scientifically, there's absolutely no difference between hair and fur. We generally just talk about hair on mammals. So I suppose for all the antelope you could probably say hair as well. And fur, I'm trying to think what I use for, what I say for fur. VM, what do you call fur? Cat fur, cat hair. No, cat hair as well. I don't know. So
soft and fluffy.
So VM says fur is anything that is soft and fluffy. So maybe only all the baby animals have got fur on them, but no, there's actually no difference. They're the same thing. It's just that we don't say that I've got fur on my head, we say that I've got hair on my head. Okay, let's see if we can see where these elephants are. You said that you saw them on the dam cam. Possibly they're going to come out somewhere. Oh, I can see them. There's lots of elephants all scattered around. Let's go around though. Let's try and get a nice position. I'm just having an elephant day today. This is lovely. I'm not going to complain. Maybe they'll chase out the lions for us as well. That would be convenient. Also just checking here to see if there are any lion tracks, but I haven't seen anything just yet. Still nothing. Right, and something that I'm actually looking forward to. Oh. So, something that I'm definitely also looking forward to is hopefully seeing a big tusker, big elephant bull over the next few months. And I know that Morning Glory said that she thought that the lion went. Oh, why are you so angry? You just carry on eating over there. Sorry, let me quickly finish my question. So Morning Glory said that she thought that they went towards Galago Pan. Now I did go and check, and unfortunately there was absolutely nothing there, not even a footprint around, and there were a lot of elephants around that area too. So I think that they are sleeping in the drainage somewhere quite close to the lodge, and we'll go in and have a little look a little bit later. Like I said, I'm a bit reluctant to go walking in there when I know that there is a fence, there's a barricade. I don't want to end up pushing those lions up against the fence, because it's not going to be nice for either of us. It's going to cause a lot of stress to me, and it's definitely going to cause a lot of stress to those lions. So we'll just give it a little bit of a skip, and we'll try again this afternoon. And also with all the elephants around, a bit uncomfortable. Bulls are not so bad, but the breeding herds, of course, mom and calf, you would never want to get in between them. There's just too many things that my gut is saying, don't go walking today, Taylor, stay in the vehicle. So perhaps we'll have to give them a skip, but you never know. With us, like I said, there's lots and lots of elephants around every corner. Perhaps they're going to chase them out for us. So keep watching that damn cam. Maybe you never know, those lions pop out with elephants in hot pursuit, chasing them away. You can see this elephant is quite happily trying to dig out the roots. Now we are going to see a change in what they're eating sooner enough. Once this grass gets a bit longer, it's very short around here, and they're going to start moving away from all the bark, and as well as the roots and the bulbs. They're going to eat the nice new green leaves that are coming off of the trees, as well as the lovely tasty grass. Now elephants will, if they can, they'd only eat grass. They're predominantly grazers, but to supplement their diet when there isn't grass around, they have those beautiful tusks. As you can see, that one was using it very much like a spade almost, or holding it nice and tight, a lever. And they can dig into the ground with those tusks for water, and dig down to get the roots and the bulbs that lots of other animals can't reach. They're very efficient animals. Lovely blue sky for a change. Hey, no clouds. Let's go up a little bit further. Let's give it a little bit of a rev, just because I think they're going to pop out again. Now, good morning, Sarah. Sarah, you've asked an amazing question. Now, Sarah, I'm really, really, really happy you asked this. So she said, does the elephant dung hold any seeds that it then propagates? Now, elephants are one of the largest dispersal mechanisms for acacia trees. Let's find, before I carry on there, let's find a nice spot, and we're going to watch some elephants while I talk. I think I'm sure you'd rather be looking at the elephants than watching me all the time, so I'll just chat over them. Let's get there we go, there's a few Ellies. I'm going to go back again. There's a nice little gap of a group feeding, and it looked like there was one suckling. Let's go back more, VM, a little bit more. Good, sweet, there we go. You can see just through the gaps there. So Sarah, like I said, elephants are responsible for dispersing quite a large amount of acacia seeds. Now we know that giraffe are the #1 pollinators for acacias, but how do those seed pods, now all the acacias produce these hardy seeds that have got a very leathery casing, and you can imagine it's quite difficult for things like water to get into that seed pod. So when the elephants eat the acacias, they pull those pods off. We know that the elephants don't have the greatest digestive systems. They only digest about 40% of food. So often those entire casings come out. However, they're softer. The digestive juices have sort of worked their magic a little bit. And yeah, so basically acacia seeds. And I'll go on a little bit more about that when you come back to me. Let's try and stick with the elephants. But while we do that, I believe that James has saved the day by finding a leopard.
Hello everybody, look, there's Thandi we decided to give up on Karula. We've come to her oldest daughter, and there she is. And the reason we decided you needed to come across here quickly was not because the cubs are here. I don't know where the cubs are. They're probably lurking behind the termite mound. She's calling them. She's calling them now. But she looks like she's going to go up into the top of the tree, which is a great opportunity for me to take a rank average photograph. She does look like Shadow, I think. So maybe they'll pitch up. Let's keep an eye out. I'm so irritated with myself that I left the binoculars behind. I'm going to guess that they're behind the termite mound to the left of where she's looking now. I think they might be coming from there. Anyway, let's wait and see what happens. In theory, if the cubs arrive, it's a one vehicle sighting, but because she's called them to us, I think we'll probably just sit here and see what happens. An eye out. She looked like she wanted to go back up to the top of the tree. She's calling and calling and calling and calling. You may have my ultra slow camera. Calling, calling, calling. I bet if I had the binoculars I could spot them. Lurking in the shadows. She's going to go up, Brian. Are you ready? I'm not. She's a rather splendid looking lady. I don't know why she's just calling like that and why they don't come. Sally, you're in Oregon and you say, "Come cubbies please," and I say the same thing, "Come on cubbies." Isn't that cool? I'm just laughing at the number of pictures that Yorse managed to take there. In the same time that it takes me to take one picture, he must have taken 77. Let's just go back a little bit. James Richard, you want to know if she's hoisted the kill? Yes, she has indeed. It's that sort of hangy bit there on the right hand side of the picture. Now she's still calling them, so we'll just stop over here, I think. Now we can't go on to Torchwood, and so we're on the fire break now, and I can't go around the other side of her. So we're just going to wait here and see what she does. calling and calling. I think she maybe is a little bit nervous of the cars. You know what, remember when we used to try and spot Hosana and Shongile when they were still G and C, and we'd look into the bushes and eventually the spots would emerge and the little eyes staring out towards the cars would become visible. I'm sure those little cubs are very, very close by here. And I think this wind, this driving wind that has come up as a result of the cold front here, is probably keeping them a little bit at bay. We're also just doing a little drive around. Come on, Thandi, look this way. Anyway, for those of you who are perhaps slightly unfamiliar with this leopard, she is 9 years old. She is the twin of Shadow, and Karula's oldest surviving offspring. Well, she and Shadow the same age. She's just had 2 little cubs. I think those cubs are now about 3 months old, if I'm not mistaken. And she's calling them and calling them, hoping they're going to come out here. I suspect they probably won't come out if there's too much movement from the vehicles, but they will be old enough to climb up a tree. They will just be on the point of weaning, and then they will start, well, they would have started eating meat some time ago, but they're about to go onto an all-meat diet. And so they'll be hungry, and they'll come and feed on this impala while it's in the tree. Kirsten, can you go again with that question, please? I'm afraid I missed it while I was waffling on. Kelvin, an interesting one from you about whether or not leopards climb trees to see in order to kill and prepare to kill. And the answer, Kelvin, is not really. They don't hunt from trees. You will see some documentaries with them hunting from trees. That's normally a result of some fairly unscrupulous filmmakers who have chased things under the trees while the leopards have been there, but they don't hunt from trees. Look, obviously, if the opportunity presents itself, it wouldn't be completely impossible for a leopard like this to hunt from the top of a tree. You know, if an unwittingly stupid diker was to walk underneath, then she might. But no, they don't hunt from trees. Would she get up there for a vantage point? Yes, to a certain extent. They certainly look when they're in trees, but it's largely for relaxation, you know. It's largely so that they can get up there and feel safe. Sometimes they snooze in trees. Mostly they'll snooze on the ground because it's not very comfortable up there. But mostly it's just to hide or to stow their pantries. So there's no other animal other than a lioness who could get to that kill there. Male lion might try. Shall we try and move? She will move her head, of course, as soon as we've turned. But worried that she's turning around and calling, which means she's not calling in one direction. Yeah, Michael, I think you've made a very good point, and I think it's entirely possible. You say, do I think the cubs maybe are having trouble hearing because of the wind? Yes, I do think that. I think that's definitely the case. Is that all right for you, Brian? I knew she'd do that. I absolutely knew it. Shall we wait? We'll go back. I'm just going to go back a little bit. Sorry, Fuzzman Sparkles, there's a lot of wind out here. I missed your question too. Thandi, pick a side. Fuzzman Sparkles, you say, how often do leopards have more than 2 cubs? Fuzzman Sparkles, you'll find that it probably happens, I'd say, about 50% of the time. It's not uncommon for a leopard to have 3 cubs. It's extremely uncommon for a leopard to actually make or survive with 3 cubs. That's absolute rubbish. It's extremely uncommon for 3 cubs to survive. So Fuzzman Sparkles, that is the story with leopards. Normally it's 2. Sometimes it's 3, so in fact I'd say 50% of the time 2, 50% of the time 3. Highly unlikely. I've never seen a leopard raise 3 cubs to independence. Normally one will die. Shall we try and move again, Brian? We may as well, hey. Say when, Brian. I'm going to stay here for a little while. Lauren, you say, how do the cubs know to stay where she leaves them? I think it's instinct and it's fear. They'd feel very fearful without her at the age that they are now. And because they feel fearful, they stay where she leaves them. Then as they grow in confidence, they'll spend less and less time where she tells them to stay. It's not desperate calling that she's making, but it is very, it's pretty definite. And the wind is howling, so Michael, I think your assertion that they can't hear her is a good one. And she too won't be able to hear them if they make those little whining noises that they make sometimes. Of course, it really is getting very blustery. I mean, this is a seriously cold day for the 3rd of October. Now, she looks like she's hanging quite comfortably there. You can see her feet. Obviously, those are her 2 back feet. But as Brian tilts up, can you just imagine really how comfortable that can be, wedged into the gap between the tree there? Wind blowing, trees hitting you in the face. She's looking straight at us, isn't she lovely? Now she's a 3-3 spot pattern, everybody. She's still calling. She does look like Shadow, I think. You think so, Brian?
Yeah, I do too.
Oh, hello. Patricia, you say she seems much larger than Karula. Patricia, I wouldn't say much larger. I'd say yes, probably slightly larger. She might even be slightly larger than Shadow as well. But she's not much larger, no. She's a little bit bigger. Karula isn't big. Karula's a relatively petite leopardess, shall we say. But as Karula has proved time and again, size don't matter when you're a leopard. Well, it does if you're a male. Female, not so much. Still calling. You won't be able to hear, but she's still calling. Apparently Stef is playing with some sticks, and he'd like to show them to you.
I'm playing with some sticks, thank you, James. Couldn't wait to show you what I'm doing. I'm busy making a bow drill set for my fire making kit, and I've selected my bow drill. This is the bow. I have a piece of paracord on here, which is basically just like a type of shoelace, really. But I am struggling incredibly to try and get my drill. This is the part that's going to make the cinder, and this is the part that you press on with a capstone on the top. But for some reason it's escaped me today on how to twirl this. The basic concept is that. Oh, hang on, it's probably because I haven't got enough slack on it. If I can't even get my finger done there, you probably find that that's why I haven't been able to do this thing. But you know, you have these days when knots that you make, it doesn't matter what you do, you have these days when knots that you make don't come right. Anyway, let's see if that's a little bit better. Oh man, I'm battling today. There we go, almost. There we go. Alright. Only thing now is it's the wrong way around, which it shouldn't be. It should be, I suppose I could turn it the other way around, eh? So there you go. So I think I'm going to have to make it a bit looser, but the theory is there, you can see, as so that goes down onto the piece of wood with your capstone, and then you basically thread the rope backwards and forwards, which will spin it along. I think I need a little bit more slack. So let's give it a little bit more slack. So what else have we been doing except for me playing with a bunch of sticks and my knife like a little 12-year-old with a big grin on my face? It's exactly what I enjoy doing. We've actually found Shadow's tracks. Shadow has been walking around in this area. We're about the Impala Plains area, and her tracks were very fresh in the middle of this block, but we have battled to show you them because they're actually quite indistinct from anything. But she's moving slowly but surely in a sort of northwesterly direction, unfortunately towards, well, fortunately, I mean, we can go there, to the Arathusa Djuma boundary, and we've got Herbert fresh on her tracks around here somewhere. So we're just idling along. I'm playing with my sticks and Herbert's busy tracking, and Zonda's just basically enjoying this very, very fantastic blue sky, which we haven't seen in a few days, and we're actually just enjoying ourselves. Today's walk seems to be going on forever, which is fantastic because it's giving me this feeling that we've got endless time to play out here before I have to go back to the confines of a camp. Alright, now I'm going to carry on getting this bow drill set prepared for a surprise that I've got in store for you over the next couple of days, see if I can get it right. And while I do that, Taylor has managed to bump into some Impala.
The Impala just sort of find us out here in the bush, but there's also some warthogs. I don't know, Vim, can you see that warthog that's still there? There. No, a little bit to the right. I think you were further. Oh, there's one there. It's a piggy. Is it sitting down again? Yes, it looks like it's having a little snooze. So amongst all the Impala, there are a few warthogs this morning, which is quite nice. I believe you've already seen some warthogs, but you can never get enough. And that one looks like a big female, having a sleep, and the young one sitting down next to it, just going to have a rest too. Now, this is a very good spot for these warthogs to sit down and rest because they have got about 50 pairs of eyes around them at the moment. They've got the Impala, and we all know how fantastic the eyesight of the Impala is. Now, if they see something, they're definitely going to let off an alarm call, which will then alert the warthogs, and they'll be able to wake up from their slumber and run away, and hopefully successfully get away too. It's quite funny to see those warthogs sleeping. Now, Impala are amazing antelope. They are quite prehistoric as well. They haven't changed their design for very many times. Sorry, I don't know why I'm so tongue-tied this morning. for the last few million years, since the Miocene period, which I think is about 650 million years ago, and they're actually not related to any other antelope species. They are completely unique. They are the only antelope in the Apiceras genus, and the reason for this, it's got to do with those little black patches of hair that we see on their hind legs. We'll see if we can find a clear enough gap. Here we go, we possibly see them there. You see those little black bits of fluff just on the hindquarters. Now those are called metatarsal glands, and they're very important glands to the impala. They're not 100% understood just yet. The scientists are constantly researching and trying to figure out what they're exactly for. However, they've come to the conclusion, there's a theory that they have these these little metatarsal gland, these black tufts of hair that we see, and that gland is activated by a big back kick. So normally when you see the impalas racing off, they do a big jump as well to display their fitness. Now when they kick back, a puff of pheromone is released into the air, and they say that they can use that pheromone that's released to try and regroup and find each other again, which is quite amazing, and like I said, unique to only the impalas. So as common as they are also very special. We see a lot of antelope out here that are all sort of cousins of each other. They're in the same big family, but there's different subfamilies of them. A good example of that is obviously the kudu, the Nyala, and the bushbuck. They're all related to each other, but the impala is on its own. Now you get different recessive genes that occur occasionally which create black-faced impala. You get black impala, and I've heard of even golden impala, which is quite ridiculous, and just mutations in the genes. And it's quite nice. It's getting very windy though. I suppose this is a very awkward time of the year, and as VM is zooming in over the tops of the trees that we can see blowing, you can see all those buffalo. Now that's quite far away. That's almost towards Gowrie Cutline again. I think this is the rest of the herd of buffalo that we've been seeing all morning. This is now the third time that we've seen them. They're now finally crossing back and into Wiffelshoek, where I think they're going to find a spot in the next few hours to rest. But now we face another obstacle, I'm afraid. Look at this big tree that we've got right here next to the vehicle that the elephants have kindly pushed over us. Now, I don't actually know how I'm going to get around here. I'm still looking for an escape route. It's quite a big tree, and there's lots of other big trees. Right, while I try and figure out how we're going to get around this, or call for help to move the tree, let's go and see how Thandi's doing.
Thandi's doing fine. Where her cubs are, though, is another matter entirely. I have no idea, I'm afraid, at this stage. But as we've moved to the other side of the tree... Hello, Spike. Spike, you want to know why she doesn't just go and get her cubs? Spike, I'm not convinced she knows where they are. I think that's probably one of the reasons. So I think, you see how she's called? First of all, she turned around and she called to the other side. She turned 90 degrees from that and then called there. And then she turned around here 180 degrees from her original direction and started calling this side. Now that indicates to me that she's not quite sure where they are. I'm pretty sure that they can hear her. I'm also pretty sure that they're not coming out because they're not used to vehicles yet. And I think that as soon as we leave, or as soon as everyone leaves, there's a greater chance that they'll come out. So we'll sit here for a little bit longer. If she starts to call too much more, she might actually go and fetch them. Well, there we go. Let's find out what happens here. That's very nice. Beautiful. Now she's going to have a bit of a meal. Or a snooze. Yes, that looks like breakfast to me. Don't drop it, Thandi. That's still a heavy piece of prey for her, you know. Still looking north and south. This is just wonderful. What a privilege it is to be spending this amount of time with her, because we don't often see her. Don't drop it. Oh, this is amazing. That thing weighs as much as she does, everybody, at least. In fact, probably more. Even though she's eaten quite a lot of it, it's still a big male impala. That is so impressive. Ideally we need to move, but unfortunately there's someone behind us, so we can't move right now. She has actually eaten a bit more than I thought she had. I think we should move quite quickly, don't you, Brian? Oh, hang on. No, I'm going to stay here. There we go. Beautiful shot. Beautiful. North and south. Doesn't really know where to be calling. Strange that she's kind of repositioned it. Maybe easier to eat where she is there. It's a bit more wedged in. But she definitely thinks that her baby should be coming to eat. Maybe she wants to lie on the dining room table, so she's... Now look, she's looking quite carefully down into one area. Oh, Sally, you say could the cubs climb that high? Sally, absolutely the cubs could climb that high with a great ease. They'd have absolutely no problem at all climbing that high. They're adept climbers from about 6 weeks. I still think that they're behind that termite mound there. I also think that if they don't appear in the next 5 minutes, everyone, we're going to leave, because I'm just a little bit worried that our presence here is having an effect on their arrival. She can't see them. There's no way she can see them, otherwise she wouldn't be calling all over the place. Yeah, Bobby, you're right. You know, you say she's got such amazing balance. It is astounding, isn't it? How they don't fall out of these trees. Still calling. And I know you can't hear because of the wind, but she's just making that very kind of well, it's a half-hearted kind of saw. You know the sawing noise they make when they call for territory. It's like the kind of beginning of that call, just a little ow, ow, ow. Not quite a chuff. The chuffing is a bit softer than that. Hello Justin, you say does Thandi have control of a territory? Yes, absolutely she does. She's got a territory, very well established territory, and her territory is next to that of her mother's and her sister's. So if you were to think of it as a sort of triangle with Karula at the top of the triangle, Shadow would be down to the left hand side of the triangle and Thandi down to the right hand side of the triangle. I would say it's probably roughly the same size as Karula's territory. Shadow's tends to be a bit smaller than those two because she gets more pressure from unrelated leopards to the north and to the south and indeed to the west of where she lives. But yes, she's very well established, and most of her territory is in Torchwood and down into Chitwa and into Cheetah Plains, a little bit on the western sides of Cheetah Plains. But after that, of course, she's replaced by Nkanyeni, who is a distant cousin. But she's most certainly one of the dominant leopards of this area, so she has to have a territory. Sandy, you say, do leopards ever fall out of trees? Isn't that lovely? You say it really makes you nervous. I've seen youngsters fall out of trees. I've never seen an adult fall out of a tree, Sandy. And so no, I don't think she'll fall out of a tree. She's a bit too adept. Oh, she's going to look for them. She's coming right close behind us. You can see the resemblance to Shadow now as she walks past, eyeing Brian. Likes you, Brian. Just sit still, sit still. So okay, you can move again. Sorry, she just stopped and she just stared at Brian. And there she goes. Now let's just keep an eye on her. I'm not going to move from here. I'm going to try and be as still as possible. See if she doesn't go and pick up one of the cubs somewhere close by. Maybe in that thicket. Let's watch carefully. That's interesting. Maybe she spotted one there. Now I know you're getting a lot of wind in the microphone, everybody, but it really is howling a gale out here. I'll just put my hand over it, that might help a bit. Alright everyone, I think... Look, let's just sit here for 2 minutes. I know we can't see her, but I think it's going to be worthwhile. She might bring those little ones out. I don't want to start the car and move towards her now, just in case she's gone to fetch them. So I think we'll wait a few minutes here, and if she doesn't come back, then we'll probably just go home. Alyssa, you want to know if I think she's getting worried? Well, I mean, Alyssa, we could talk about whether leopards get worried for, I don't know, probably for years, and debate whether what worry is and whether she feels a sense of distress, anxiety. Is she concerned for them, or is she just kind of looking and thinking, well, where are they? I don't know. I like to think, yes, probably a bit worried, certainly a little bit anxious, and certainly if I was to say, you know, we know that leopards do get a little bit more tense when they are looking for their cubs. They certainly would react less favourably to vehicles. So yes, I think she probably does get worried. Is she worried now? I don't know. Let's head across to Stef. We're going to wait right here, see if she doesn't pop out with the little ones, and let's find out what Stef's got for you in the meantime.
There we go. I finally managed to get my knot right, so that's what it looks like. There we go. On the drill itself, holding it nice and tight. Now what I've got to do is I've got to give the drill itself some more angles to give the paracord a purchase. And then I've also managed to find myself eventually the capstone. I've got the knuckle bone. Ta-da! The knuckle bone of a kudu, or a wildebeest, or a zebra. I'm not too sure what it is. There wasn't much left except this knuckle bone. But you can see that it gives quite a nice cap at the top there. And that's to hold the drill in place So just to give you an example of what we're going to be doing, so take that and put it on the top, hold it nice and firmly, and then turn. There's something not 100% right with my drill. I think my drill itself is probably a little bit too small, but it'll work for me to show you what I'm doing, at least anyway. So basically that's how it works. Obviously the other way around. So there we go. Now, and there you go, generating some friction. I'm going to drill through my foot, and it's the wrong way around. This is actually the side that's supposed to be down, that way, with the least amount of friction on the top, and then the friction gets generated around this edge, turning, and then you got fire. So apart from the cord, everything we found today, basically, this is a piece of variable bush willow, Combretum calinum. This is a piece of bone, the knuckle bone of some animal, I'm not too sure, but around the kudu, wildebeest, zebra size. I've got a piece of monkey orange, that's this stick, not bendy of course, and then I've got my piece of paracord, and it seems like this length is the right length. It's difficult to actually gauge how much slack to give, how little slack to give, and then I think my drill needs to have a few more angles on it. You can see here, there's some angles there, which allows the cord some purchase, but if I turn it around, it goes quite smooth over there, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some slipping happening. So I've got to take my knife and I've got to give it some angles, basically, without shaving my thumb off. So that's what I'm doing over there. And that's what I'm going to be busy with for the rest of the day, basically, getting this thing ready to a point where I can show you. But it has come to that part of the day where myself and Xander and Herbert have to say goodbye. So I just want to say thank you very much for joining us on the walk today. It's been fantastic having all your questions and showing you that massive termite mine, a favorite for me today, at least anyway. So from us, we'll see you just now at 3:30-ish for another bushwalk this afternoon. Wherever you are in the world, have a good day.
So we're just trying to find some zebra. I did hear some calling a little bit earlier, so perhaps they're not too far, though it's quite windy, so that call could have honestly been coming from anywhere, maybe even further away, but we're going to keep our eyes open, and sounded like a few of them. And we have been seeing more and more herds of zebra coming through. Still not too many wildebeest just yet, just seeing the odd wildebeest here and there in between the impala and between the zebra. So that's something else to look forward to see the breeding herds coming back. Oh my goodness, look at all these impala. I think it's the same ones we just saw. Let's see if I can roll towards them. Look how many they are. Now, if they've moved, those warthogs perhaps would have had to have woken up then, because they haven't got anybody to stand guard and keep a lookout for them. But quite a nice mixture. Quite a few males in this herd. Youngsters, sort of a little bit older ones, and then a few mature ones, and then we've got, of course, the lovely ladies too. Let's go up a little bit further, see who else is around. Thanks Impala for giving us a wonderful show. Oh, hang on, we've got two young Impala just up ahead. Let's see if they don't get spooked by us. Can you see those two over there? So we're going to park on a little bit of a slope. There, go straight through there. Now those two young, although they're not young, sorry, now I can see their horns a bit better. Oh, sorry, not there, a little bit further to the left. They're looking straight towards us. There we go. Watch these two. Aha, they are slightly younger. Now, they keep following each other around, and they keep popping their heads down as if they want to spar with each other. So not a real fight, they're just sort of practicing. They're not going to be mating with the females just yet. Here you go, you see how they keep chasing each other, and every now and then they'll clash horns, and just in practice, sort of like how we see those lion cubs biting the carcass and practicing on learning how to kill something. Impala have to obviously learn how to fight each other, and practice makes perfect. These are two big rams now. You can see they're all very jumpy. I think we're coming into a bit of a false rut, so they're trying to all size each other up now. They're looking good. looking healthy. See, we go, doing a bit of a dominance display. Normally they'll see each other and they'll sort of look at each other, do a bit of a circle, walk around each other, size each other up, and then they sort of do their agitated little bit of jumping around. And then normally if they're of a fair size, they'll then start clashing horns. But I don't think they are quite coming into a rut just yet. All the females are already pregnant, and we've seen a couple of Impala with the little ones moving around inside, which is quite amazing. I don't know, the Pinker boys are getting a little bit too excited, because being in a herd with all the females now is not really going to mean too much. But let's carry on ahead. Possibly we get the zebra. Now it's a pity that the wind has picked up. I thought we were going to have a nice hot day, but I suppose we can't have it all. I think this is just the end of the bad weather that we did have that came through here. It's just the wind, and then hopefully tomorrow it's going to be beautiful and warm. Like I said, the next few days it's going to start heating up quite a bit. It's going to get almost to 38 degrees Celsius apparently on Thursday. We're going to have to bring all the sunblock out again. It's bizarre now, the weather at this time of the year. One minute we've got our waterproof jackets on, windproof, trying to stay nice and warm. Then the next afternoon we'll have to lather on the sunscreen so that we don't get fried by the African sun. Right. I haven't picked up anything yet, no tracks of the zebra either. And I'm still quite curious about the lions. I'm a bit boggled, but my only conclusion is that they're sleeping in that drainage line. And I believe that when they go down into that closing, it's almost impenetrable to try and view them even with the vehicle. Anyway, I don't know if we're going to have much luck with these zebra, but it'll be something to look forward to this afternoon. But I hope you all had a fantastic morning, and just enjoy the rest of your day. Take it easy. So for myself and Vim, it was lovely, and I'm sure we'll see you soon again. But let's go back over to James and say goodbye to him too.
Bye. Say bye, Brian.
Bye.
We're not really saying goodbye, everybody. That'd be so rude. We're heading back home. We waited a little bit for Thandi and the youngsters. Everyone else scarpered and they left us, but I just think maybe she's had too much pressure today with the wind, and so we're just going to leave her. I'm sure Brent or Jamie will go back early this afternoon just to find out what's going on. But to remind you, this afternoon we're doing our rehearsals for Nat.Geo, I'm afraid. So what that means, of course, is that we won't be broadcasting live today. I think that is for the next 3 afternoons, if I'm not mistaken. And then I think the last 2 rehearsals are public, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just going to get Kirsten to confirm that. Right, we're not actually very sure, but we think Tuesday and Thursday afternoons will be public rehearsals, and Friday morning and Wednesday afternoon, like this afternoon, will be private. And that just means that we only broadcast to Nat.Geo for the rehearsals, so that we can redo bits and pieces if we need to. Yes, much. I think there's a lot of technical things we've got to work out, and that's why that is going to be the case. So if that inconveniences you in any way, I'm very sorry about that. Brian is also very sorry.
I am very sorry.
But things will be back to normal completely next week, and I really think these rehearsals, although I mean it's great to practice with everyone watching, I really think that they lift our game slightly. We try all sorts of new things. We're not worried about trying bits and pieces that may or may not work, and so I think they're a good thing. So I hope that you will bear the pain with us while we go through them, and be patient, and thank you for your patience. We only have about 40 seconds left of this drive, everybody. So we'll just go to Chelapan, which is just up here, and we'll stop. And then I shall bid you a fond farewell until tomorrow's sunrise drive at 05:30. Just been hit in the face by an insect, Brian. No, it wasn't wonderful at all. That'd be ridiculous. Alright everybody, that's going to be it from Brian and I and the whole team. A big thank you to Stef and Eggsy, to Taylor and VM, to Brian the Thumb, to Kirsten and the team and the final control, and mostly to all of you. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.